Hey guys, welcome to another Three Amigos video. You have Stanton here, Junio, Keedon, and today we're talking about
Fuji.
Which is probably the only brand that will unite us, actually.
Yeah.
The only camera brand that we have, all three of us, right?
Yeah.
Like a Flex. I do have a Leica Flex, technically.
Yeah. Canon, definitely not.
Canon, yeah, they are. they just don't appreciate. This is me recording in a Canon, by the way. Yeah. But yeah, let's start. Why do we actually get a Fuji?
So we have three very different cameras here. Obviously, if you've watched the channel, we all have multiple camera systems, and we all have them for different reasons, right? So maybe sharing a bit of my sort of story. I started off doing mainly photography with a Nikon DSLR, and then moving on to the Nikon mirrorless. However, under the influence of this channel and mainly Junio. So
I'll take credits on that. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
So always been wanting to get into videography. So I shot with the Nikon Z7, which was a 45, 46 megapixel camera, and it was a great stills camera. However, it was, as Nikon has been before the release of the Z9 and Z8, have been a bit lacking in terms of their videography. So when I was planning a trip this year, I was like, okay, I want to get like a small hybrid camera that can enable me to take good photos, but mainly like good videos. And so I was looking around the market, trying to see, what would be a good video camera that can shoot, at least 4K, 120 frames per second, and at the same time be small and light enough to be portable enough for travels.
Feel free.
Wasn't available then.
Yeah, it wasn't available at the time. Too bad. Yeah, and I thought about the Z9 at the time.
Was that?
Oh yeah, it was. So I thought about the Z9 at the time, but that camera is 1.3 kilograms, which weighs more than like my Fuji camera and lenses put together, just itself. So that's why and the Z8 wasn't released at the time yet, and so even though I was committed to the Nikon Z mirrorless system and the lenses, I was like, I really wanted something that I could take great videos and that was smaller. So boom, suddenly Junio recommends, you should take a look at the X-H2S. And I was like, wow, it's on paper, it was an amazing camera, 26 megapixels, stacked sensor, and can shoot 6.3K video, F-log, everything you mentioned. So I've used this camera quite extensively for travel videography in the past like half a year or so, and been really blown away by the camera system, and not just like the video and the quality that comes out, but also the lens selection that's available. Yes, it's an APS-C sensor, Keedon. It's an APS-C sensor. But I think APS-C sensors have come such a long way.
For sure,
10 years ago, you really saw a significant difference between full frame and APS-C sensors, especially in terms of the low light performance and things like that. But nowadays, the APS-C sensors are so advanced, and I think Fuji have done a really good job in terms of developing their APS-C lineup. And also, if you're someone who's an amateur or even a professional photographer, I think this would give you more than enough capabilities to use this for both personal work and professional work as well. So very, very happy with the Fuji, and it's actually made me put my Nikon Z7 in the dry box for like the past 6 months or so. So it's definitely a great camera to have.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've taken this into professional shoots already. And so, I mean, even the sunset video that you recently took, right? That's using the Fuji. Right?
I think what we can agree on is that the Fuji camera colors, like straight out of camera, along with the sort of presets and the film sets available, is pretty amazing. Yeah. I mean, I'm someone who, I'm not like Junio. I don't like to edit. I don't like to video grade. So for me, it's important to get the thing like right out of camera. And so having this and being able to shoot straight out of camera and edit my videos has been a great blessing to have.
Yeah, I think for me, it's actually among those same lines, which is not editing. So I like color grading, right? So
likes editing.
I like editing. It's that's why I got a Canon, right? It gives me that versatility. For me, I'm so used to Canon because I know how to edit for Canon. And for me, sometimes if I want to just be lazy, to take the camera out and just take pictures, I take the Fuji, right? Because for me, playing with the recipes is actually something. I mean, you guys know, like we take film,
Hey,
right?
weren't you the guy in the video with the Q3? What?
Yeah, exactly. How to do
Yeah,
this?
yeah. So what are you doing with the X100V?
I mean, this is a Fuji.
Fuji video.
Fuji video, that's why. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's the Fuji X100V for me. It's something that I'll take out like if I want something that I don't have to edit.
Yeah.
With the recipes, like I play with it so much, especially with the Fuji Recipes app. You can just use the app to find like different film recipes, and I have portrait here, I have Ektar, and it's so much fun actually because you don't have to edit. You get the similar film look. It's similar. It's not exactly the same, but you get that look, which is to me something that I really like about just being able to take this picture and not have to edit. Sometimes I just want to be lazy, and this is a camera that allows me to be lazy and just enjoy the pictures. Just focus on framing, focus on the subject as well, without having to edit too much afterwards. So yeah, for me, the X100V has been something that I have taken more and more lately, just because I've been traveling, and then I want to take something that is light. For me, the X100V nails it for me.
Maybe for our audience, we can talk about the difference between this camera, but in particular to the next two models.
Next to, well, so I think like this one is...
That's an APS-C lens changing.
Yeah, this one is definitely fixed one, right? So,
And what's the focal length on that one?
This one is, for me, right now, the aperture is 2. I actually have a WSL, which will make it to a 28 millimeters, if I'm not mistaken. By default, would be equivalent to a 35, I think.
On an APS-C?
APS-C. So, yeah, WSL, again, is something that allows me to get wider shots, which I appreciate, and that's something that I actually recently got. It's something that I think it's like 1 month. I take it off actually. Well, actually, you have an X100.
I have an F,
Actually, I have one extra. I don't know if you want to take it and test it out. So they have 2 adapters.
That would change the focal length.
Yeah, just to change the focal. Obviously, I can't change my lens because by default it's actually very small, right? So
it's a fixed lens.
It's a fixed lens.
It's too light. Because with that,
so small.
Yeah, the camera is too light for Junio, so you have to put an extra weight.
Extra weight.
Otherwise, it's like
front back balance is not good, right?
Front back balance, this is the back, right? I mean, it doesn't balance.
But this is a very small sort of pancake lens, isn't it?
It is very small. So yeah, by default it's 23.
Yeah,
so
pancake.
Yeah,
tiny and
What's that converted in terms of full frame?
35.
This would be 35.
35.
Yeah. So with this, it will become a 28. I can double check, but from my understanding, it becomes a 28.
Right. I mean, 35 is probably the most versatile focal length you can go for everyday camera.
Yeah. And it's super light, right? So even without this, obviously this adds to the size of it.
Yeah.
But without it, it's just so portable, and the recipes is something that I've been just nailing and playing with, and I have a lot of fun. And I think obviously this does not have the video aspect.
Yeah.
I do hope that Fuji X100V2 would have like a bit more of a video functionality. It does have, but obviously not to the same level of the X-H2S, right? Which, if it did, it would be really great camera for me. Yeah.
Did you prefer this over Q3?
Oh, it's a very interesting question. So watch my next video. Why I would prefer this versus.
But you did a video comparing this with the Q3.
I did.
Check it out on the area top for that video.
Exactly.
All right, so 3 different lineups. So APS-C and then also APS-C.
Fixed lens.
Fixed lens. And now we have something. We have the big boy. Mr. Flagship.
No, it's not the flagship, but it's a monster. So here I have the GFX 50S Mark II. And this is a medium format camera. As you can see, the size is huge. I only got this recently, so I haven't put in enough hours to really understand the camera. But the whole point of me getting something that big, it's because I own a set of medium format film cameras, so the Hasselblad, the Contax 645, and I also have some vintage lenses which I have changed the mount so that I can use on cameras. And I'm a portrait photographer as well, so I own a lot of 75, 90, 100 sort of range lens on a full frame camera. And although I do use it, but sometimes it's very difficult to use it for travel or landscape just because it's so telly.
Yeah.
So the benefit of having medium format is that these 75, 90s will go closer to 50s as well. So I can use my full frame tele lenses in another way. So I mean, this is huge, and it's slow. But as a film shooter, the speed of this camera is acceptable to me.
Yeah. So what do you have here? This lens. Actually?
Yeah. So right here, I don't actually have any Fuji medium format lenses because I have a Z9 and modern lenses I have enough. But right here, I've adapted a Contax 645 80 f2, which is the famous lens that a lot of wedding photographers use for film. And on top of that, there's an adapter that allows the lens to have autofocus. Nice. I don't know how fast the autofocus is when you compare to the native Fuji, but so far it's okay, it's workable, especially in a high contrasty area. I don't expect it to be as fast as that APS-C or any full frame or even manual focus in some situation, but it works. And it's great to be able to use some of the lenses that you have from film and put it into a digital body. Although I don't, to be honest, don't kill me here, Fujifilm, but I don't really like the recipe and the film simulation because I find that it only works for a very specific time and day.
Yeah.
So once you go indoor, it just doesn't make sense. So
I'm gonna send him some recipes.
recipe, but why not just shoot it raw and then do it in Lightroom, right? So for me, I just shoot it raw, and I don't really care about the film recipes that I'm getting. But even as a JPEG, without tweaking too much, I'm not too impressed by the film simulation.
Okay.
Do you use the film simulation?
Sometimes. But mostly I just shoot raw.
Yeah, raw, man.
Yeah. I should play with my X100V, maybe.
Yeah. Actually, but for photos, I don't mind editing it in raw in post.
Okay.
But for videos, I don't want to color grade. So I sometimes I shoot the videos with the simulation, and I'm pretty happy with.
Actually, that's one thing I really like about the X.
The video.
Is the video. You just can put the simulation there, and off you go, right?
Yeah. So check out this video. We did a 1-minute video on one of the Leica.
One of the Leica.
Yeah. And that is straight out of camera. No editing, no video editing.
Yeah, I'm gonna get out of job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No more grading. But yeah, I think that's the beauty of the film simulation. But I get you what you mean. Because sometimes there is some recipes that if you go from indoors to outdoors, the white balance is completely off, right? And that does happen. But yeah, that's why you have to flip between the recipes. Yeah. But I get your point for sure. I actually never shoot RAW with this one. So I always shoot RAW, right? So it's
Mr. RAW.
Yeah, I always shoot RAW with Canon.
Mr. RAW.
But this is probably this is direct JPEG all the time for me. For me is the lazy camera, and I can rely on it to get the pictures I want in that moment. So for me, it's the only camera I don't shoot RAW.
Yep.
Yeah. But in terms of your first impressions about your GFX. I mean, I know it's recent, but what is it so far? What do you like about it?
Yep.
I know that you don't like the recipes too much, but what else?
Well, I mean, I bought this just for photos, so I don't even go with the video function. And honestly, I haven't shot any videos yet. But I do like, despite it's bigger than,
I mean, they're very similar. If you look at them, one's just bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's very similar to this one as well.
Yeah.
No, but so credits to this GFX though, when you compare it to Z8.
Yeah.
It's not that much.
It's not much bigger actually.
Right, and you can't tell it is a medium format until you remove the sensor, which I think is the look at the size of that thing.
Compare it to
let me remove mine too.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah.
That's a medium format right here. So I mean, a lot of medium format lenses can be adapted on without losing the focal length.
Yeah.
I like the feel of this camera when you press the shutter. It's just maybe because the sensor is so big, the shutter curtain is huge, so you get this very SLR like experience.
Like a mirror flipping.
Okay. And the flip screen allows me to shoot it like a Hasselblad, waist level camera, which is great because this is quite heavy. So I just hang it on my camera strap, and then the waist level, off I go.
And it's very bright, actually. This
it is. I mean, I have no quarrels with what they have done here. I know a lot of people complain about how slow medium formats are, and they're comparing it to full frame. Yeah. I don't buy this camera to do fast things. I have a Z9, but I think this camera in its own, little space, it's great if you have medium format stuff lying around your house, or vintage lenses that you want to adapt on. It's it's not really that expensive per se when you look at other medium format options out there. Right?
Definitely. One of the things that I really enjoyed about the Fuji sort of interface was they have all these like C1 to C7 quick settings.
Yeah.
So that I really enjoy. At first I thought like, oh, who would set up setting things? But when you're actually on the go, either when you're traveling or doing a job or whatever, then being able to access like different video speeds very quickly is a real
and recipes as well.
Yeah, for me, it's literally a matter of flipping to the different Cs to actually get different recipes. So in that moment, maybe the white balance is off, then I'll try a different recipe. And then,
do you have a C?
So mine is a digital. It's not a dial, so I can just.
So you have to select the C.
I just swipe left, and then I can get all the different recipes.
Yeah. But but overall, I mean, the menu system is a joy to use.
Yeah, I mean, I just started, and it's easy to comprehend where the things are. It's not too difficult. Have to get used to, but not too difficult.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this compared to a Nikon?
Well, I can't compare it to the Z8 or Z9.
Yeah.
But I think I think the Z8 came 2 months too late for my trip.
Right.
Otherwise, I think the Z8 would be a competitor to this camera.
But to be fair, right, the Z8, the Z lenses are much heavier than the 8.
Yeah.
And you went for Patagonia, right? So I do wonder, at that stage, would you still have gone for this?
Yeah. So, I think several things to consider. Right? I would compare this to a Z8, obviously. And the Z8 is double the price. That's one thing to consider. And also the lenses on the Z lineup somehow, because of, I guess, it has a bigger diameter. So
more glass.
More glass. So they're just quite bigger. Like they're quite big. Like if you compare like the older Nikon F mount glass, like the 1.8s are tiny, right? But somehow for some reason the 1.8s, even on the Zs,
It's bigger.
Yeah, they're quite sizable, like even bigger than this.
Yeah.
So you don't really get that sort of like travel, very, very, very travel friendly, carry friendly, especially when you're hiking for hours and all that weight.
So small form factor.
Yeah, small form factor was what won for me, and the fact that the Fuji lenses are so much more affordable compared to the other parties. So like I got an entire Fuji, I got X-H2S with 3 lenses for the price of the Z8 basically, and these are like prime lenses 1.4 and so small and yet like so amazed by the quality of the lenses.
And you have a Sigma lens on it.
Yeah. So this is one lens that I got recently.
The third party stuff.
Yeah. So I had 2 primes, so the 16 1.4 and the 33 1.4, which are great lenses. But sometimes when you just want to take one lens out, then you really want something that has a good zoom factor, but at the same time, this is a large aperture. So this lens is tiny, but this is f2.8.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So f2.8, and it costs like less than $500 US. Yeah. So it's an amazing lens to use. Good job from Sigma.
But you know what is interesting? We're teasing you about it when you got it because you're all about softness, vintage stuff. Your Leica has to be pre-aspherical, and then you went to get something that's so modern.
Yeah, but it's different.
I don't remember teasing him about that.
Like so modern. I'm like, what? How does that work? Like you went all the way out.
He did have Z though. It's technically modern perspective.
But this Sigma is even more. It's a sharper lens, right?
But to be fair, it's like that's why you need different camera systems, right? So I think if you want to get like very clinically sharp photos, I need eye autofocus. Or if I'm shooting, a wedding for a friend or whatever, then realistically speaking, this is a better camera to use. So if I'm going on a job by myself and I know I need to get all the photos, then this would be the camera to go to. If I know that Junio's there and he's gonna get all the photos, then I can play around with the Leica, right? So So for the more like artsy, like personal photos, then Leica. But for like a camera, then I think
with a small factor,
small form factor for travel and everything, then this is a really great camera to have.
Yeah, because I remember the key requirement that you had for Patagonia was something light. And that you could record video, right?
And get stolen.
Well,
without breaking a heart.
Exactly. I mean, the first thing is obviously the price, and you can buy so many lenses, and they actually have a very good lineup as well.
Yeah,
of lenses.
I'm really impressed by the line, like their upcoming lineup, and they're really like working really hard to sort of update and upgrade their lenses along the way as well. So they have an amazing set of
The
prime
zoom lenses, right, for wildlife even.
Yeah. So
Can we I didn't know that.
And it was in white.
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah. So you know they're doing a really good job with their lineup,
Yeah.
and I like the direction they're taking. So obviously you have in the full frame sort of world you have the Canons, the
Tons.
Nikons, the Sonys,
All the big boys.
all the big boys, right?
Yeah.
So you know they're really targeting their customer group, right? Which is small form factor, which again is great for especially like or girls as well who want a smaller form factor camera. Then this is something that's pretty good to use as well.
How does this compare to your Canon in terms of tech stuff?
Tech stuff, in what sense? Like the autofocus?
Autofocus.
I think the autofocus is okay. It's definitely not as fast, let's say, like the R8.
Yep.
But I honestly, it's pretty
R8,
reliable.
that's the entry-level camera.
Yeah, the full frame one. So
So you won't even mention R3.
I mean, I3 is like, I mean, it's the current.
Yeah, but is it enough for day-to-day use?
I think so.
Yep.
I think so. I'm honestly very happy with the autofocus of the system. Low light will struggle a little bit. That's when it kind of struggles.
Okay.
But
What's a usable ISO for this one?
I can bump it up to like 4,000 and it's still pretty usable.
Maybe
Which
that's
is
better than most Leica.
I mean, this is 4 years old. I think it's about 4 years old.
Still out of stock.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw like the price even jumped further. Actually. Yeah. So it's out of stock. But I think they're launching like a Disney version of the Fuji X100. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
But yeah, surprisingly, the tech stuff again for me is being able to control the camera as much as I can. That's the main thing that I like about the digital cameras is that yes, it has like a lot of options, which can be daunting and. Like when you start with the Fuji, it has a lot of menus, but it's very easy to navigate.
Yep.
And I literally play with the different settings to understand what it does, right? And with the Fuji, I think it's very easy to kind of understand the menus. And with this one, the tech stuff, in terms of like how they populate the menus, allow you to change it, I think it's very easy. And the autofocus, as I mentioned, is like very reliable for me. Like it's reliable for me to actually take this every day.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm very happy with this. The video spec, as I mentioned, is not great. I didn't buy this camera for video. It doesn't have stabilization. The one that it has is not that great. But yeah, for photos, I'm extremely happy with this.
What is surprising is how you can tweak the settings, right? Like, okay, for people who don't have Fuji or touch Fuji, you can change the highlights, the shadows. Like those are what you expect in the Lightroom, and for other brands you can't really alter that.
Yeah, you can't.
But for this one, you can fully control how much you want to alter the color from in terms of JPEG coming out of it.
Yeah, I think it's the literal, like as you said, like Lightroom in the camera allows you to control how much of red you see, how much of blue. And that is what the recipes actually are doing is changing those values in order to create a filmic look based off the film stock. And again, that's just something, and they make it so easy to change as well, right? So it's not like that hard.
Once you know how to do it in Lightroom, you can do it here.
Exactly. So yeah, kudos to Fuji.
Nice.
All right, so shouting out to all the non-existing Fuji shooters on our channel. Although we have been showing a lot of Canon and Leica stuff on our channel, but
we do own other brands.
And we do hope to showcase more of Fuji lenses reviews and things to come up. And we hope that you guys have any questions about the things about Fuji, we'll try our best to answer you down in the comment section below. So do leave a comment or question, and we will see you guys soon again.
Bye bye.